Do you poop in the woods? I also poop in the woods. And in this video, I want to share with you a few of my tips and tricks for pooping in the woods. Just not any kind of pooping in the woods, but pooping with a bidet and how to use a bidet properly. Just a special note to my mom and dad. All those years ago, when you spent that money to send me to college, I'm sure you never dreamed that at age 51, I would be making videos that start off with, "Do you poop in the woods?" Just to make an extra couple bucks. Actually, I'd be lucky to make a couple extra bucks on this video. But anyway, I could have started with some other lines. Do you want your pooping experience to be the highlight of your backpacking trip? Do you want to leave almost no trace after you poop in the woods? Do you want to go lighter and leave all of your toilet paper at home? Do you want to hike squeaky clean when you are backpacking after pooping in the woods with zero chafing? What if I told you I have something in my backpack that will revolutionize the way that you poop in the woods? So those are some of the other lines that I considered starting off with. But in the end, this is nothing more than a video about pooping in the woods and how to use a bidet. And like I normally do in a lot of videos, I want to tell you right up front what you're going to get so you can decide whether or not you want to keep watching. I'm going to front load this video with talking a little bit about why you might want to consider using a bidet. So if you are a new bidet, if you are not a bidet user, I'm going to try to convince you to possibly get one. Then the second part of the video is somewhat like some of the other bidet videos that I've made. And if you've coming to this video from those, the difference is going to be that since making that video a long time ago, I have had so much more experience with pooping in the woods, and I'll get to why that happened. And so I think this one is going to be a little bit more descriptive. Also, after making that last video, I think I can kind of push it a little bit more with my comfort level in describing just exactly how you would poop in the woods. I think anytime someone makes a video on pooping in the woods, it's kind of hard because, you know, I don't know, even though everybody does it, you kind of hold back when explaining how to do it. So I'm going to try to be a little bit more descriptive and specifically answer a lot of the questions that have come up in the comments of the other videos. And I think by the end of this video, I'm not going to try to make this all sorts of bells and whistles. It's really just going to be a flat out informative video for people who are considering using a bidet, for people who want to stop using toilet paper, and people who just want to know how to poop while squatting and squirt yourself clean. Yes, that's what I'm making videos on, how to poop and how to squirt yourself clean. Mom and Dad, all that money you spent on my college education is now being used to make pooping videos that, you know, make me an extra 75 cents a month. So thank you very much. So basically there's three things you can do when you poop in the woods. You can bring toilet paper, like a lot of people, but of course if you bring toilet paper, you're also leaving toilet paper behind, unless you are packing it out. And I don't know, that kind of somehow crosses a line for me, having a backpack full of poop when I return to my vehicle. The second thing is obviously to use nature, to use the sticks and to use the leaves and to use the rocks and to use the moss and to use the snow. And I have done those. I can tell you that it does work. I think probably it helps if you have a little bit of experience and maybe someone guiding you through what to use. It might be a little rough if you just think you can just kind of like grab a hunk of leaves and just keep wiping. But that does absolutely work, and you leave no toilet paper behind. It's maybe just as good as toilet paper, but the best option, and one that I have not found that toilet paper or natural objects beat, is just bringing a bidet. Now, this is the Holey Hiker backpacking bidet. This is one that I have designed, and I was really hoping it was going to be on sale with this video, but fortunately a tester found a small problem with it over the summer, and I've fixed the problem, but now it's going out to another set of like 50 testers from across the country, and once I get that feedback back that verifies that my fix has corrected the problem, hopefully they will be on sale by January 2021. So you can check the description, and if you are watching this in 2021, check the description, and hopefully there's a link to the website where you can purchase one. Up until that point, I will leave a link to Culo Clean, which is another backpacking bidet that a lot of people like using. I also like bringing a bidet just because of its size and its weight. So I don't know how much toilet paper you would bring. I just happened to grab this. This was on one of our rolls in our house and I brought it down. I know for you hardcore people, you're gonna point out that I did not take the center out of the toilet paper. I forgot to, but you can, generally get a sense that, well, this is a different bidet than the one I grabbed before, the yellow one, but it's still a Holey hiker bidet. You can see that it's going to take up a lot less room in your backpack. All right. The other thing too is that what I'm holding in my hands weighs twice as much as this bidet right here. So this bidet is weighing in at 12 grams. What's that? 0.2 something ounces, somewhere around there. But this is going to weigh more. So generally, if I'm going for more than just an overnight, I'm bringing more toilet paper by weight than I would the bidet. And again, you're bringing the toilet paper, you're leaving the toilet paper behind, or you're bringing it with you. The other thing is that, this bidet is going to fit right onto my water bottle. And so I don't need to bring in anything extra. I know some people in comments before have mentioned how they bring separate special squeeze bottle that's attached to something that they use for their bidet, but this is just my normal water bottle that I would bring, and it just pops right into the top of it. Actually, since I have this water bottle out, let me address another question that a lot of people have had, and that is, how much water does the bidet use? Now, this is one of my test bottles that I used back in probably April and May or something like that. And each line represents the amount of water I used every time for each poop. And so out of one smart water bottle, I was able to get 17 poops. And generally I use somewhere between 200 and 500 milliliters of water. I know some of the early testers that gave me back their numbers trended more towards 500 milliliters of water. And I think this is one of those things that the more you use a bidet, the less water you end up using. Probably because your aim gets better, I'm not sure. So you can see that, I mean, literally, even with that amount of water right there, I've still got almost 4 poops left in this bottle. So no problem there. The last thing that I really love about bringing a bidet, and this is gonna sound silly, but literally, like, I just have a bidet that is, dropped in my backpack, and it just sits there. And whenever I go backpacking, I never have to think about toilet paper. And I know that sounds silly, but that's just like, it's one less thing to think about. You don't have to think about how much. You don't have to think about, do you need extra? Are you bringing too much? The other thing too, and if you are a new backpacker, maybe this has never really come up, but if you've done multi-day trips, you ever, you bring your toilet paper, you've pooped on the first day, you've pooped on the second day, maybe you've even squeezed out a second one on the second day. And now all of a sudden you're thinking, all right, do I need to start conserving my toilet paper? Do I need to start holding back and just use a little less amount? And when you bring a bidet, you can just poop away anytime you want to and never have to worry about bringing enough toilet paper. All right, I think we're officially getting weird in this video. All right, and now we're getting to the part of the video that probably everybody has made it this far to see, and that is how to actually poop in the woods with a bidet. But just like any great show, I'm going to keep you hanging on a little bit longer because I just wanted to share 5 other facts. If you are not convinced right now, I just want to share 5 other facts with you that will convince you that you should be using a bidet. And these are more to just humor my inner middle school teacher self than to inform you. But here we go. 5 facts. Fact number 1. If you bring a bidet when you go backpacking, on average, you will save 12 trees for every backpacking trip that you keep the toilet paper home. Backpackers that use bidets suffer 32% less injuries on their backpacking trips. In an early survey of the 2021 Appalachian Trail thru hikers, 78% of them said that they would consider using a bidet. 42% of the backpackers going next year on the Appalachian Trail for a thru hike are already using a bidet. So you might have heard that people in Denmark generally score highest in the world for happiness levels. The only group of people that have ever surveyed higher than people in Denmark for happiness are people 2 years ago when a graduate student did a survey of people completing the Continental Divide Trail, and the people who used a bidet while on the trail scored happiness levels above and beyond even the people of Denmark. All right, walk with me and let's find a spot. Now, if I can kind of go back here. So this is a really easy spot to find a place to poop in the woods. And a couple of things to consider. Number one is, and this is going to sound silly, but if right here, there is a slight hill. I don't know how much this is going to be able to pick up on it. So obviously you never want to face uphill, because once you start squatting down, your weight is going to bring you back. The other thing too is you don't necessarily want to squat on a downhill. It is easier, but at the same time, it does mess up your squat a little bit. Now, I've seen in other videos people who have said that, they will hold on to a tree, and I am going to recommend not holding on to a tree. And the reason for that is because it messes with the shape of your squat and your colon. Can I do this like this? Your colon, is it your colon that comes right out where the last place the poop comes in? Whatever that is, right before the poop comes out, it's kind of shaped there's kind of a kink to it. And so it's made so that when you squat, it kind of opens up. And so if you do hold on to something, it messes with the shape of that squat, meshes with the shape of the colon. I don't know, it messes with it. And so oftentimes you'll see people who will, they'll raise their feet. Like if they have a toilet in their house, they'll raise your feet. It's not the same as squatting. It doesn't put that, whatever, I cannot remember the anatomy, the term for that part of your anatomy, but it does not place your colon into the correct position to poop as easily as you can. Yes. So squat. The other thing you want to consider is what is in front of you when you are squatting. Now, I can only speak to what it's like squatting as a male. I'm not sure for a female, but obviously if you're a male, you're pooping out of one end and you're going to be peeing forward. And again, this is going to sound silly, but it's important. Things like little leaves like this sticking up. Even things like this, the leaf, whoops, where is it? I just knocked it over, but the leaves are pointing forward. Or even like squatting and not paying attention to like a log, or if you're squatting and having the rocks in front of you. What is going to end up happening is when you pee, it's going to bounce back. And so you definitely, you want to be careful about what is in front of you to make sure that when you pee, it's going to reflect out and not back to you or to any of your shoes. All right, now it gets a little bit weird. I just have to warn you that I do have normal shorts under these pants, so when they come down, you don't need to look away. All right, now the next thing is you've picked your spot, and now you're getting ready to squat. This is also going to sound a little bit silly, but when you have your bottle and you have your bidet, one, I think, of the mistakes that someone might make in the very beginning is you come to your spot where you're going to poop and you bend down and it's automatically you put your bidet in front of you. So you don't want to put your bottle in front of you because obviously you'll pee on it. So you kind of put it over to the side, okay? The next thing is let's do this from the side. So I suppose anybody who does this has their own technique. And I know that even though some people might have one technique versus another, there are some that are better. There are tips and tricks that are better than others. So if you have a suggestion on how I can improve, then please let me know. I have decided to poop like this because once I started testing the bidets, not only did I make the bidet, but I had to test it every day. And so literally from probably I tell you, one of the benefits of the coronavirus lockdown is that basically from March all the way until September, I got to test my bidet almost once a day. So however many days in a row that is, it's added a lot to my bidet experience. And this is generally what I do. So you've picked your spots. There's nothing in front where it's going to reflect off of. Don't go too wide. So you don't want a big wide squat. That's like just, I suppose you can do that. Maybe that's my new technique, is to go elbows on. But what happens is you're still forward. So if you can kind of look at the side, that's still not a proper squat position. Your colon is still kinked. It's not in the shape that allows the poop to come out the easiest. So here we go. Remember, I have shorts underneath here. So what I do is my pants come down, but I gather them up above my knees, all right? And so I don't know if you can kind of see that. Oh yeah, this is weird. Oh my gosh, I'm 51 and making another video on pooping in the woods. Anyway, so I pull them down and I gather them at the knees. Now, if you happen to have like legit hiking pants, they're normally very flexible. Like these are kind of like outdoor hiking pants. I would just gather the whole darn thing up like this, okay? And then you've got nothing down below your knees. It's right above your knee. And when you squat, it kind of is all gathered right here. And so what I'll do is, if they're in the, I don't know if you can see that, I don't know what the best way to see this is, but I kind of grab it right in the middle. And so as you're squatting, everything is out of the way. There's no pants hanging down. There's nothing that's loose. If you don't have pants that can come up like that, then obviously if you still just grab it, you know, they're still going to be out of the way. I know it's kind of hard to see, and I'm not going to make it any easier to see, but when you poop and you pee, it's not coming by your pants at all, okay? And so again, I find it easiest to just gather it all right there and then squat and go, okay? Now, you don't want, can I talk like this? How about this? How about if I get dressed again and talk? How's that? Now, you don't want to go too narrow and you don't want to go too wide with your legs. So you kind of find that perfect sort of position. And to say that it takes a little bit of practice, absolutely. The other thing too is that some people said, well, you can't squat, you have leg issues and all of that. You know, you go for the best squat that you can. It doesn't have to be perfect, but again, I think washing up with the bidet is still going to be better than using the toilet paper. If you're wearing shorts, it's the same sort of thing. I pull them down, gather them right above my knees, and then poop. All right. I'm not going to get into cat holes in this video. I'll let that be your own research. But I suppose what we talk about next is how to wipe. All right. Now I'm going to leave my pants on if you don't mind. So I know I just said we're going to get to wiping, but there is something that I forgot. And I have to attribute this next tip to a viewer. I forgot to look up who it was, but this is one of the best tips I've ever gotten on this channel, and that is to pre-spray before you poop. Now, on the Holey Hiker backpacking bidet, I don't know if you can see it, there's an arrow there. And that arrow, it tells you exactly where to put your thumb. And so when you have your thumb where the arrow is pointed, when you come around with the bidet, it's always going to be pointed the right way. Now, pre-spraying has become, I think, one of the most important tips that I could offer up. I think you end up using a lot less water, and it's a lot easier to clean up with. And so let's say you've gotten your squat down, everything is going good, and so the first thing you do is you reach back and you squirt. And so the water is going to come out, if that's kind of visible like that. Now, if you are just a beginner bidet user, what you should do is aim high. Again, you've got a crack in your butt. And so if you aim high, all the water rolls down the crack. If you aim too low, it comes shooting out the front of you, and it doesn't really help. So if you're nervous about using a bidet, if you're worried about your aim, if you need to figure out like, where do I start aiming first, aim up high. Again, your shirt's gonna be up, your pants are down, and so you could aim up high, like even like right here, you'll feel it, and then you can slowly bring the bidet back down to where the poop comes out. And all of that spray that you just did will be coming down and wetting your butt. So after you poop, then now it's the easy parts. You know, everything up to this point was a little complicated. You're done pooping, everything's great. All you got to do now is wash up. And this is where I think a little experience will come in handy. Like right now with my bidet, I have used this so much. I've used I've used a lot of different water bottles, but primarily the smart water bottle. So I know exactly how to squeeze and everything. It might take a little while for new people to kind of adjust to that. But all you do, and this is going to sound silly, relax your cheeks. Relax your cheeks. If you're out pooping in the woods with a bidet for the first time, you're probably a little tense. So you've just pooped. You're now about to squirt for the first time, and you kind of clench and things close up a little bit. So let the breath out, relax, let your butt crack open up, and let the water get in there. That line was not in the script. And so again, make sure you know where the hole is. On the Holey Hiker Backpacking Bidet, it's easy to find with the arrow. And then you're going to squirt. Now, I prefer one big squirt. Other people might squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. If you're new, it's probably a squeeze. You can feel the water and then aim it. How much water you need is going to depend on you. It's going to depend on your aim. It's probably also going to depend on what you eat. If you're a vegan and if you're a plant-based, it washes off in a split second. If you're pooping big greasy globs, I suppose it's going to take a little bit more water. All right. All right. Now let's get to the final wash-up. The moment you've been waiting for, when you actually have to touch your butt with your hand. Now, I know a lot of people are going to think this is gross, but allow me to put this in perspective for you. Hold on, I have some props. All right, 1 second. Let's say that this is your butt cheek, and let's say that's the poop. Now, normally what people do is they go and get toilet paper. This is a perfect example of toilet paper. This is what is between your finger and poop when you're at home. Yet nobody tends to think that this is gross, that all you have is that tiny little piece of paper between the poop and your finger. And then the next thing that you do at home is you have poop on your butt cheeks and you attempt to wipe it off, right? And you get too much, and then you toss it, right? And then you got to get more toilet paper, right? And then you wipe it off, right? And then it's still some there, so you get another piece and you keep wiping it. What you're really just doing is spreading it around to the point where it's so thin that it's clean. Now compare it with a bidet. All right? You've got the poop on your butt right there. You've got, let me try to hold this properly here. You've got the bidet right there. All right, it's off. It's done. It's clean. And your hand did not come anywhere close to it. And again, I get that a lot of people think that the next part is a little bit gross, but just think about that for a second. It's the difference between taking that paper and smearing it around, and then you keep going backpacking and hiking for the next 24 hours and do another poop. And then you smear that one around, and then you go hiking for another 24 hours and you take another poop and you smear that around. Do you wonder why you end up with chafing? Do you wonder why you end up with monkey butt? and all sorts of other sort of weird things going on down there, and slippery things happen in your crack. And so when you use a bidet, that stuff doesn't happen. It is like you are taking a shower after every time that you poop. It's a totally fresh, clean feeling. A totally fresh, clean feeling. That line was not in the script either. All right. I hope you appreciate my ketchup and Ziploc example there. But it's the best thing that I could think of to like why you would want to actually use a bidet, because you're not just spreading poop on your cheeks, you're actually cleaning it off. So after you, I've been squatted for a while. So after you have pooped, after you have squirted with the bidet, the next thing that you have to do is you have to check. I guess maybe you don't have to check. I do tend to check. Now, remember, I still have shorts on underneath. Don't panic. So I know people do this in different ways. And I know that if you are in certain countries, certain cultures, certain religions, that you want to use a certain hand. That is not something that I feel the need to abide by for my personal beliefs. So please, if you are of one of those groups, you're just going to switch hands. But when I do my bidet in my left, when I'm done with the bidet, I'll then grab my pants with my left hand and then reach under with my right. Can you see my hand sticking out there? Now, what I do is I test with my middle finger. Oh God, this is getting weird. So that if you can imagine, if, you know, with your butt, these fingers kind of stay out of it, and it's just my middle finger that kind of tests. And what I'm normally doing is when I'm on my last squirts is when I feel and test, and making sure that there is no poop that is left there. If there does happen to be a piece of poop that is left there and you touch it, it rinses right off. Like you'll never even come back up with it on there. I don't know, what everyone's personal level of experience is with poop. I have a small farm. I have worked on farms for years. My hands have always come in contact with poop. It really does, out of all the different dirts, it rinses right off. And it's, you'll be okay if you accidentally touch some. I think what's going to happen with a lot of beginners, am I still sitting here with my pants down? Hold on. I think what happens with a lot of beginners is that initially you're going to be learning, like how much water to use. And my guess is that you're probably not going to be feeling any poop because you're going to overdo it with the water. And so as you fine tune it, you might find that there's a little bit there and you might wipe it off as you are squirting. And again, I have time and time, like over 100 times in the past year, I have when I've finished, I have tried to find something on my hand. And I just have never found anything. It's always come out clean. The one thing that I did not bring down here, is that when I'm all done, I have the antiseptic gel stuff. So I'll squirt some in my hands, wipe up. There are going to be two places that people tend to forget to wipe up, and that is tops of fingers. The other place, and this was some study I just read, is that the tips of your fingertips is another place that people don't normally clean up on. So people are really good about the palms, people are good about in the middle of the fingers, but getting the fingertips and above is one place that you'd want to wipe. I think earlier in the video I did address splashback. That is one of the questions that has come up the most. Do I need an extra bottle? Do I need to do any splashback? Or do I need to do anything special? And again, it's kind of hard, for some reason, not doing this for real. I never seem to be in the right position. But when you're squatting and you're holding the water bottle, if you can, I don't know if you can see it in the video, the water is coming down. So the water is coming down to your butt, and then obviously it doesn't splash up at the same angle. So if you're coming down at this angle, it then has to bounce at that angle. So you're not going to get splashback on your bottle unless you're holding it really, really close. Which if you have a good bidet, if you happen to eventually order the Holey Hiker backpacking bidet, you don't really need to be that close. So if you've made it this far in the video, I don't have a doubt in my mind that you have what it takes to try a bidet. I don't care if you wait until January 2021 to try one of the Holey Hiker bidets. You can go down in the description and you can find a link to a Cool Clean backpacking bidet. But if you have watched this much in the video, my guess is that you're probably a beginner and you're trying to absorb all the little tips and tricks. And so if I can just give some suggestions to people who are starting off, and that is if you could find some local trail to just give it a test on. And I know that if you're just going on a day hike, you're probably not pooping, but literally just pulling down your pants behind some trees and squirting your butt. Oh, and speaking of squirting your butt, the other #1 question that a lot of people have asked is, do you dry? No, there is no drying. You're only hitting a tiny little part of your body. You're not like wetting all of your butt cheeks. And so many times this past year when I've been backpacking, I've thought to myself, okay, I've just pooped. I know people are concerned about how long it takes to dry. Let me time it. And so I'll kind of look at my watch and it's 12:22, and then let me see how long it takes until I feel it's dry. And it happens so quickly that I never remember, like it's out of my brain. It never bothers me. So all of a sudden it'll be like an hour later and I'm like, oh, I never checked. So feeling wet is not a problem past the first couple of seconds. The other thing, if you are new, that you might want to do is to poop in your toilet and use your bidet in your shower. I know one of the viewers gave that as a suggestion, and I was like, that's pretty good. And even if you're not going to actually wash poop away from you, just to actually have a place to try it in some privacy. I think there would be a lot of anxiety about using it for the first time, especially if you are someone who this is really like a foreign thing to you, like this is like out there. But it is definitely worth it. It has definitely changed my life. I feel so much better about not bringing toilet paper and leaving toilet paper behind. And I think the #1 benefit for me is just feeling clean. Like no matter how many days you go, you're just always feeling clean. And you're never feeling like it's getting kind of raunchy down there and you're getting that monkey butt thing going on and chafing. So there you go. Yet another video about bidets, because the internet needs more backpacking bidet videos. I hope you got something from it. If you do have a question, please leave it in the comments. I'll normally get back this time of year within 48 hours or so. And again, if you look in the description, hopefully by January 21, there will be a link to purchase the Holey Hiker backpacking bidet. Thank you.